The sun blazed over Age Market, casting long shadows on rusted roofs and vendors shouting over one another. Amid the chaos, Binta Lawal balanced a tray of fresh bread on her head, her wrapper tied tight, her voice hoarse from morning calls. Each loaf she sold brought her one step closer to paying her mother's hospital bills. As she arranged her goods near the Danfo Park, a sleek black SUV pulled up beside her stall. The door opened, and out stepped a man in native wear and sneakers, clean, sharp, out of place. Dami Olatunji, tech entrepreneur from Ikoyi, scanned the area like he didn't belong. But his eyes settled on Binta. "How much per loaf?" he asked. 500, she replied, not looking up. He smiled, pulling out his wallet, but before he could pay, a voice cut through. "Abeg, Comet, we no day wait for rich boy drama." A man shoved past, Tunde Olabai, in loud colors and cheap cologne, with eyes full of malice. Binta stiffened. She knew that voice. Dami turned, calm but cold. "Selling bread is not a crime, Olga." Tunde sneered but backed off. "You didn't have to do that," Binta said, eyeing Dami. "Maybe I admire hard-working people," he replied, extending a hand. "I'm Dami." She handed him the bread. "And I'm working. So unless you want more bread." Dami chuckled. "Maybe I do. Maybe I just like talking to you." From behind the Danfo, Tunde watched, his fists clenched, jaw tight. Years ago, Binta had refused him. Now she was smiling at another man. "If I can't have her," he muttered, "no one will." The next morning, Dami was back, leaning casually against a kiosk near Binta's stall, holding a steaming puff-puff. Binta frowned, adjusting her headscarf. "You again? I didn't get your name yesterday." "Binta," she said, brushing flour off her wrapper. "A beautiful name," he smiled. "Tell me, have you ever thought about owning your own bakery?" She blinked, surprised. "You want to buy my bread or my future?" He chuckled. "I'm serious. You have something special. I can help you open a real bakery, your name on the door, your rules, your bread." Binta narrowed her eyes. "Why would a big man like you help a market girl like me?" "Because I see someone who deserves more." She hesitated. Her heart fluttered, but suspicion held her voice steady. "No, thank you. I don't take gifts from strangers." Dami's lips curled. "Then get to know me." From across the road, Tunde leaned against his van, watching. His chest burned. She rejected me for this smiling idiot. He tapped a message into his phone. Later that week, Binta's world shifted. With Dami's quiet funding, a small corner space in Yaba transformed into Golden Crust Bakery. The yellow walls gleamed. The scent of warm aged bread and cinnamon rolls filled the air. Afrobeat pulsed softly in the background. Customers flocked. Binta wore her apron like a crown, pride glowing on her face. Dami stopped by often, not to interfere, just to sit, sip kunu, and ask about her dreams. She found herself laughing more, trusting, slowly. But from an alley nearby, Tunde's stare remained fixed, his voice low. "Let her taste success. I'll be the one to break it." Golden Crust Bakery bloomed like Lagos in Harmattan rain. Yaba's streets now smelled of warm butter and fresh yeast. Customers queued by sunrise, smiling at Binta's homemade loaves and puff-puff dusted with sugar. Inside, Binta moved like magic, measuring, kneading, baking. Her mother, Margaret, sat in a chair near the window, wrapped in a shawl, smiling proudly. Dami visited daily, quietly watching Binta through the glass as she worked. He brought small gifts, fresh vanilla pods, a cooling fan, sometimes just conversation. She laughed more when he was near. But one evening, she sat outside the bakery, silent, shoulders sagging. "Something wrong?" Dami asked, handing her a bottle of cold malt. Binta sighed. "My mum's health is getting worse. The doctor says she needs surgery, but it's too expensive." "How much?" he asked, gently. She hesitated. Too much for someone selling bread. Without hesitation, Dami placed a hand over hers. "Let me help." "No," she said quickly. "You've done enough." "I'm not doing it out of pity," he said softly. "I care about you." Tears welled in Binta's eyes, but she nodded. Okay, thank you. The next week, Margaret was wheeled into Luth's surgery wing. Binta waited in the hallway, clutching the prayer beads her mother always carried. When the surgeon returned, smiling, Binta broke down in tears of relief. Later, at her bedside, Margaret whispered, "That man, he loves you. Don't push him away." "I know. Mama," Binta smiled through her tears. "And I think I love him too." But in Mushin, Tunde flipped through photos of Dami and Binta on his phone, rage building. He smashed a glass against the wall. She wants love? I'll give her hell instead. The sun rose over Yaba, casting golden rays through the bakery windows. Golden Crust was thriving. Binta's hands were dough-covered, laughter echoing from the small team she trained. Dami stopped by often, sipping Zobo, his eyes never far from her. But beneath the bakery's warm glow, shadows stirred. Binta's assistant, smiled sweetly but moved suspiciously after hours. She pocketed things, whispered over secret phone calls. And in Mushin, Tunde smirked while texting her. "Everything's ready," she messaged. "Do it." Then disappear. He replied. 3 days later, just as Binta prepared to open for the day, a white van screeched to a stop outside the bakery. Men in uniform stormed in. "Lagos Health Inspection." One barked. "We've received reports of expired ingredients and poor hygiene." Binta froze. "That's impossible. We clean daily, and everything fresh." But the men ignored her. They took photos, examined shelves, sealed boxes. Golden Crust is officially shut down pending investigation, the inspector announced, slapping a red notice on the front door. Crowds gathered. "I knew it was too good to be true," someone muttered. "N.A. rich man day back her, Agege," another scoffed. Binta's heart sank as her staff dispersed and customers walked away in silence. Dami arrived moments later, eyes wide with shock. "What happened?" "They said I poisoned people," Binta whispered, broken. "No, this doesn't make sense." "I warned you," she said, tears brimming. "This is your world, not mine." Before he could speak, she removed her apron, placed it gently on the counter, and walked into the rain. From across the street, Tunde watched through tinted glass, smiling darkly. And just like that, the bakery crumbles. That night, Dami sat alone in his Ikoyi office, replaying the scene at the bakery. None of it made sense. Binta kept everything spotless. He opened his laptop and pulled up the bakery's CCTV cloud feed. Hours into scanning footage, he paused, entering Binta's office late at night. Alone, she rummaged through drawers, slipped a file into her bag, then quickly left. Dami's jaw tightened. The next morning, he showed up at F's flat in Agege. She opened the door, startled. "Dami? What?" He shoved her phone into her hand. "Explain these." On the screen were messages between her and Tunde. "It's done. She's ruined." F's eyes widened. I needed the money." He said. "Save it," Dami snapped. "You betrayed her. You'll fix this." An hour later, they stood at Binta's doorstep. She opened the door in her wrapper, eyes hollow. "What now?" she asked, voice weak. F stepped forward, guilt in her eyes. "It was me. I faked the inspection documents. Tunde paid me. I'm sorry, Binta." The words landed like bricks. Binta's lips trembled. Dami moved closer. "You were never the problem, Binta. You were targeted." Binta turned away, tears silently falling. "He won. He took everything I built." "No," Dami said firmly. "You're still standing. And we're not done." Binta looked up at him, unsure. "I don't know if I have any fight left." Dami reached for her hand. "Then let me fight for you until you're ready to fight again." For the first time in days, something flickered in her eyes. Hope. But far across Lagos, Tunde stared at a screen showing Dami and Binta holding hands. "So they're back together," he hissed. "Let's see if they still smile when her mother disappears." The call came just after midnight. "If you want to see your mother alive, bring $1 million. No police. You have 24 hours. Dami's blood ran cold. He turned to Binta, who sat bolt upright on the couch. "What's wrong?" she asked. He swallowed. "They have your mother." Binta's scream shattered the silence. "No. Mama, why?" Dami grabbed his keys. "I'll fix this." "Don't go alone," she cried, grabbing his arm. "Please, Dami, think." He paused, breathing hard, then reached for his phone. "Chief, all you mind," he said when the call connected. "I need help. This is about a kidnapping." At a pauper port, inside a grimy warehouse, Tunde smirked as Margaret sat bound in a chair, coughing softly. "Dami thinks he's a hero. Let's see how far love gets him," he muttered. By dawn, Dami stood at the warehouse gates, briefcase in hand, pretending to be alone. Inside, 5 armed men waited. Tunde stepped out, sneering. "Where's the money?" Dami placed the briefcase on the floor. "Let her go." "Not until I count every naira," Tunde said, motioning to a thug. Just then, boom! The warehouse doors burst open. "Lagos police, drop your weapons." Officers in black vests flooded the building. Guns clattered to the ground. Chaos erupted. Margaret was quickly untied and ushered to safety. Tunde roared as he was slammed against the wall. "You set me up." Dami stared him down. "You cross the line." Outside, Margaret wept into Binta's arms. "You came for me," she whispered. "I will always come for you," Binta said, eyes full of tears and fire. Dami wrapped his arms around them both. "It's over." But in the distance, a new storm brewed. Madame Grace, Dami's mother, was about to enter the story, and she wasn't coming with hugs. The gates of Banana Island swung open, revealing a white mansion with silver balconies and cold marble floors. Dami held Binta's hand tightly as they stepped inside. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "What if she doesn't like me?" "She will," he said. "Eventually." In the grand living room, Madame Grace Olatunji sat poised in ivory lace, sipping tea. Her eyes landed on Binta like a judge on trial. "Good evening, Ma," Binta greeted, bowing slightly. Madame Grace looked her up and down. "So, this is a bread seller." Dami stepped forward. "She owns her own bakery now." "I see," Grace replied coolly. "And where's her father?" "Passed away years ago," Binta said, voice soft. "It's just my mum and me." Madame Grace sipped her tea, unfazed. "So, she's poor, just like the last one who broke you." "Mother," Dami snapped. Grace's voice rose. "I will not watch my only son throw away his future for a girl from the streets." Binta's heart sank. She turned to Dami. "Maybe she's right. Maybe I don't belong here." "You belong with me," he said, voice breaking. Grace stood. "If you walk out with her, don't come back." Dami's jaw clenched. "Then I guess you're losing a son today." He grabbed Binta's hand and stormed out. Grace stood frozen, chest heaving, watching her son disappear. Back home, Binta sat in silence, pain etched into her face. Margaret entered and sat beside her. "I can't do this, Mama," Binta whispered. "I can't be the reason he loses his family." Margaret took her hand. "Then show her who you truly are. Let love speak louder than pride." Binta closed her eyes, torn between fear and faith. In Banana Island, Grace poured another cup of tea, unshaken on the outside, but her hands trembled. She had just started a war she didn't understand. The knock on the door came at sunset. Margaret opened it and froze. Standing there in pearls and press lace was Madame Grace. "You—" Margaret gasped. "Margaret!" For a moment, the years melted. They had once shared secrets, laughter, and dreams in their youth, until time and distance tore them apart. "You're Binta's mother?" Grace asked, stunned. "Yes." "And Dami is yours?" Grace nodded slowly. "I didn't know. I was cruel to her." Margaret stepped aside. "Then maybe it's time to fix that." The next morning, Binta returned home from the market to find Grace sitting quietly on the couch. "I came to apologize," she said, voice trembling. "Your mother was once my best friend, and I let my pride blind me." Binta, stunned, sat down. "Ma." Grace reached for her hand. "If she raised you, I know you're a woman of worth." Forgive me. Tears filled Binta's eyes. I just love him. That's all. I know, Grace whispered. And now you have my blessing. Later that night, Dami burst into Binta's home, grinning. She told me everything, he said, lifting her off the floor in joy. 2 weeks later, Golden Crust Bakery was alive again, reopened with a crowd of well-wishers and Afrobeat floating through the air. And at the center of it all, Binta walked down an aisle strung with fairy lights, her gown glowing under a lash evening sky. Dami waited, eyes filled with fire and forever. I do, she whispered. I always will, he replied. As the guests cheered, Grace and Margaret sat side by side, hands clasped. Our children found the love we almost forgot, Grace said. Margaret smiled. This time, let's not let it go. And so, beneath Lagos stars and the scent of fresh bread, love rose like dough in the heat, unshaken, golden, whole.